One of the most pleasurable parts of my job is when I get to tell you guys about a Second Amendment win. And it's happened again. And this time, the Federal Court of Appeals struck down the law preventing people under 21 from buying handguns. We'll break it down after this. Neomag has been supporting TGC for years, and I know you guys love what they do. You tell me all the time. Whether it's the classic Neomag, the Rask, maybe you like the Sentry Strap and Scout Sling, or maybe you like the EDC tray. They make some awesome gear. Now, normally we would tell you about a discount code, but in times like these, Neomag is putting their money where their mouth is. Here's a message straight from them.
Hey everybody, if you go to our website and you place an order and use code TGC2A, we're gonna donate 10% of that order to the Firearms Policy Coalition.
So we're doing this because we understand exactly how important this fight is. So let's all get together, let's fight for our gun rights.
That's right. Use code TGC2A over at theneomag.com to have 10% of your order donated to Firearms Policy Coalition. Now that is the kind of brand I can get behind. Welcome back to the Gun Collective. My name is Jon Patton, and you are watching The Fight for Gun Rights. This is a show all about Second Amendment news, and we would love it if you got subscribed, followed us over on Instagram, where we post spicy memes, or just left a like on this video. Now, like I said in the opening, this case covers the law here in the US that says people under the age of 21 cannot legally buy a handgun and or handgun ammo from licensed dealers. The decision comes out of the Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals, and that covers Maryland, Virginia, West Virginia, North Carolina, and South Carolina. The decision itself, the document, is 141 pages long, so I'm going to do my best to boil this down to something that's actually digestible in short form. The appeal being judged here comes from a case where two different individuals, Tanner Hirschfeld and Natalia Marshall, separately tried to buy handguns for different reasons and were unable to do so. Natalia, in particular, had a more urgent need because of an abusive ex. The defendants in this case, the people trying to fight them on it, the good old ATF and Merrick Garland, the current U.S. Attorney General. That being said, the plaintiffs challenged the law and the appeal ended up here. In order to try and understand this, we're going to go through the decision itself and break it down. There is an immense and thorough explanation of how the court arrived at their decision, along with a super long anti-freedom diatribe at the end of the document from Judge Wynn. It's a dissenting opinion. Let's start out with the opening words from Judge Richardson. When do constitutional rights vest? At 18 or 21, 16 or 25? Why not 13 or 33? In the law, a line must sometimes be drawn, but there must be a reason why constitutional rights cannot be enjoyed until a certain age. Our nation's most cherished constitutional rights vest no later than 18. And the Second Amendment's right to keep and bear arms is no different. Plaintiffs seek an injunction and declaratory judgment that several federal laws and regulations that prevent federally licensed gun dealers from selling handguns to 18, 19, or 20-year-olds violate the Second Amendment. We first find that 18-year-olds possess Second Amendment rights. They enjoy almost every other constitutional right, and they were required at the time of the founding to serve in the militia and furnish their own weapons. We then ask, as our precedent requires, whether the government has met its burden to justify its infringement of those rights under the appropriate level of scrutiny. To justify this restriction, Congress used disproportionate crime rates to craft over-inclusive laws that restrict the rights of overwhelmingly law-abiding citizens. And in doing so, Congress focused on purchases from licensed dealers without establishing those dealers as the source of the guns 18 to 20-year-olds use to commit crimes. So we hold that the challenged federal laws and regulations are unconstitutional under the Second Amendment. Despite the weighty interest in reducing crimes and violence, we refuse to relegate either the Second Amendment or 18 to 20-year-olds to a second-class status. Boom. Man, I love reading stuff like that. So the way I interpret that is that the court is not trying to degrade the status of people between 18 and 21 to a lower grade of citizen, and also the same with the Second Amendment, who would not be allowed to have full Second Amendment rights. That's freaking fantastic to hear. That is real. That's almost groundbreaking. I don't like to say things like sensationalized, but that's great. I know that there are states out there right now trying to prevent this exact same age group from being able to buy guns at all. And here we are seeing a Circuit Court of Appeals decision in favor of the 2A. The summary section of this decision is full of rah-rah moments as well. It's a bit wordy, but trust me, this matters. This starts all the way on page 83. Yes, it took that many pages to get to the summary. Those of good faith on both sides of the gun debate wish to protect lives and uphold individual rights. I think we can agree on that, usually. We appreciate the seriousness of gun violence in this country and applaud Congress's laudable desire to curb senseless violence. But we also recognize that the Second Amendment embodies a fundamental pre-existing right that enables the people to preserve their own life, liberty, and property. Striking a balance between those interests is a difficult exercise that draws intense passions on both sides. And that's for good reason. But while Congress or judges may have struck a different balance long after ratification, that role is foreclosed to us by the balance that the founders chose. We cannot now second guess or undermine their choice. History makes clear that 18 to 20-year-olds were understood to fall under the Second Amendment's protections. Those over 18 were universally required to be part of a militia near the ratification, proving that they were considered to be part of the people who enjoyed Second Amendment rights. And most other constitutional rights apply to this age group. And Congress may not restrict the rights of an entire group of law-abiding adults because a minuscule portion of that group commits a disproportionate amount of gun violence. Oh, that line is so strong. Congress's failure to connect handgun purchases from licensed dealers to youth gun violence only serves to highlight the law's unduly tenuous fit with the government's substantial interests. 18 to 20-year-olds have Second Amendment rights, and the challenged laws impermissibly burden those rights. As a result, we vacate the district court's grant of the motion to dismiss, reverse the denial of summary judgment, and remand for further proceedings. Vacated, reversed, and remanded. That sort of echoes the opening statements, and it also explains to those that don't live inside the gun control debate happening in our country that it is out of line for judges to legislate from the bench. It also hints that this issue of so-called gun violence, which is actually just violence, is far more complicated than laws seem to be able to handle. I'll spare you the rest of my rant about the term gun violence and instead remind you that this is not necessarily a done deal. While the circuit court declared it unconstitutional, it can be appealed again by the defendants and likely will be, which would land the case at the Supreme Court if I'm not mistaken. The very same court that has been ultra hesitant to hear gun cases, with the exception of a few, for a very long time. So we could sort of be in limbo for an undetermined amount of time. I'm honestly not sure how things will work if the case doesn't move forward. If it remains unconstitutional, then the gun industry would likely see a huge rush on handgun purchases and a lot more enthusiastic buyers as a whole. As I've said many times before, gun rights are human rights, and this reinforces that. I want to know what you guys are thinking here. Do you think this will go forward? Will it actually undo the nonsensical age restriction on buying handguns and handgun ammo? Tell me your thoughts down in the comment section below. Also, if you don't mind, please hit the like button and share this with your friends so we can make sure that everyone is up to date on Second Amendment news. If you haven't yet, be sure to follow and subscribe based on whatever platform you're watching this on. And as always, thank you all for watching. We'll see you soon.